सांप सीढ़ी का खेल तो खेला होगा आपने, हमने भी खेला है। ऑडी की कहानी भारत में कुछ ऐसी ही है। 2013 के आसपास ऑडी तेज रफ्तार से सीढ़ियां चढ़ रहा था, एक के बाद एक बेहतरीन डिजाइन्स और कार्स जो हमारे बॉलीवुड सेलिब्रिटीज की फेवरेट हुआ करती थी। 2014 में भी ऑडी नंबर 1 लग्जरी ब्रांड था इंडिया में, बट 2015 से ऐसी कुछ दुर्घटना घटने लगी जहां पे ऑडी को मजबूरन सीढ़ियां उतरना पड़ा और दूसरे ब्रांड्स जैसे मर्सिडीज बेंज सीढ़ियां चढ़ने लगी। इसमें से एक कारण ये भी हो सकता है कि ऑडी की पेट्रोल ओनली स्ट्रैटेजी। क्या ऑडी की ये नई गाड़ी उसे शतरंज जीतने में मदद करेगी? हेलो एंड वेलकम बैक टू शटर ड्राइव। But all's well that ends well, and Audi is trying very hard to win the Game of Thrones this time. And given the fact that the Q5 is the 9th product for them in 2021, in middle of a pandemic, means they are serious about the business. And more importantly, 45% of Audi's sales comes from the Q range, and this should be a big advantage for the German car maker in India.
Honestly, I couldn't believe it when I learned that the Q5 is the best selling vehicle among the portfolio of over 3 dozen variants the German car maker has on offer globally. But just after spending less than 10 hours with it, I was damn convinced. The Q5 is a sharp looking crossover vehicle that carries the Audi design language well while still maintaining its individual character within the lineup.
Audis are generally known to have a subtle design, but things are changing since recent times. If you look at e-tron, it looks quite aggressive. But then, if you look at the earlier Q5 that was there, that had the horizontal stripes on the grille. And in the new Q5, you have the vertical grille. And there's a very old saying that says that if a short person wears a shirt with vertical stripes, he looks relatively taller. I'm not telling that Audi has applied that to it, of course not, but I think that gives you a sense of confidence that the car now looks slightly more nicer in appearance. And in fact, that is going to be the case with most of the Audi SUVs going forward, is what I think personally. I could be wrong, of course. And talking about the headlights, Audi has gone for the full LED treatment for the headlights, and you have the DRL here, which is nice as usual, because if you remember, in the early 2000s, right, especially around 2013-14, then that's when the Audi cars started coming on full-fledged force on the roads, and they were known for their DRLs, those wide DRLs, and DRLs were a very fancy thing back then. I mean, it was not there in all the cars. And yes, coming back here, there are a lot of chrome and aluminium accents here. Audi says that the combination of both chrome and aluminium makes the car look really nice, and I think it's a good thing there. And I kind of like this black surround here around the chrome and aluminium finish, and there is a camera and there are a couple of sensors in the front which should help you navigate in stringent conditions. You know, there are smaller things like, you know, the Audi logo inside the DRL, the 4 concentric rings that look really nice. Another small thing that I kind of personally liked in the grille is the first half of the grille is different than the second half of the grille. The second half, there is a lower half is closed and the first half is open, and there is this Quattro badge as you can see here. But what I'm trying to tell you here is these are the small touches that make the car look really nice. The car does stand out in its own way for sure, but then big thumbs up on the design elements, especially in the front. So there are 4 creases on the bonnet of Q5. So if you know why some bonnets get creases, good. If you don't know, very good. I'll explain that to you now. So apart from the aesthetic appearance, another function of the bonnet creases is they help in the structural rigidity, and also more importantly, they help in reducing the drag of the car. And especially in such cars, such pseudo performance oriented SUVs where the car sprints to 100 km/h in just 6.3 seconds, smaller things like this matter a lot. Every single second counts. So let's check out the most important thing of the Audi Q5, that's the engine. So this is a 2-liter TFSI engine, and it turns out 249 bhp of power and 370 Nm of torque. How good is the engine to drive? We'll tell you very shortly when we drive the car, of course. but the engine bay looks really nice and packed. It's so neatly done, just like the typical Volkswagen Audi family. So moving to the rear of the Q5, the first thing is there is some resemblance to the older Q7. The stance looks quite similar, especially the long reflectors and the reverse light here remind you of the Q7, and there's a thin chrome strip running. In fact, the tail lamps are so identical to the Audi family that you take the tail lamp and keep it separately, and people will be still able to identify that this is a car from the Audi family. And you have rear parking sensors, which is of course expected at this price bracket, and there is a rear skid plate and a part of chrome blemish running around the car. Overall, it's a very subtle design. In fact, the front is slightly loud compared to the rear, but rear is like super duper neat. And of course, more importantly, it's a full LED treatment for the tail lamps. It's a complete LED package here. So let's check out the boot space of the Q5. It's abundant, it's pretty decent. In fact, I just feel that the parcel tray restricts good amount of boot space, or else you would be able to stuff in easily 2-3 big suitcases. That should be more than enough for your weekend trips and your adventures. And apart from that, this is a non-alloy, and there are a couple of tools essentials here placed under this. The boot isn't very deep, it's as you see here. It's, I mean, you probably could expect more here. I've always been a fan of Audi's craftsmanship. Really love the way the interiors are tailored in every single car. Even cars like Q3 or A4, they don't look like they're the base variants of the Audi family, the smaller siblings, and that's what is special about the brand. And Q5 is a notch above them in terms of the quality levels that are there inside this car. Everything feels so nicely put. Everything feels of such supreme and good quality.
While the Q5 is packed with technology, it maintains an uncluttered appearance. Buttons, switches, and knobs are smartly grouped and segregated by function, and there's a unity of design that's very pleasing. The 10.1-inch infotainment screen floats at the top of the center stack. Audi and craftsmanship go hand in hand, and this is reflected in the manner every single puzzle is put into place. The steering wheel wrapped in perforated leather looks good and feels damn right. The gear lever feels just the right size and houses an electronic parking brake in its vicinity. The Q5 is also equipped with wireless charging and comes really handy in the era of inconvenience caused by tangling cables from Type-C, USB, and whatnot. The front passengers can of course set individual temperatures for themselves while driving through the beautiful terrain of incredible India. You won't be short of space in the front of an Audi Q5 at all. A great sounding Bang & Olufsen 3D premium sound system with 19 speakers and a 16-channel 755-watt amplifier is available on Premium Plus models. Wireless Apple CarPlay is included and works like a charm. We cannot end this without mentioning the superb and crisp dials of the instrument cluster neatly tucked behind the beautiful steering wheel in the days of finicky designs in the name of modernization.
The back seat of Audi Q5 is as important as the driver's seat, because a lot of people are going to spend in the back seat as well, which means the back seat has to be really nice. How does it fare? Let's find out. First things first, the rear seat is actually comfortable. The legroom is good, the headroom is nice, really nice. There's sunroof to give you so much of light inside the car, so much of light, like that's more than enough. And the front seat is slightly scooped out, just so that you feel slightly more spacious. The tan color leather is of really nice quality. The color is good. It looks very nice, luxurious, premium, whatever synonym you want to use for that, please add it to yourself. There are rear AC vents, and you can set the temperature yourself here. It's a 3-zone climate control in this car. There is one thing that's not that good. In fact, that's going to bother you a lot. That is the rear floor hump. This is one of the tallest floor hump I have seen ever. It's that tall, and the fifth passenger is going to have a really tough time because he cannot keep his leg here at all. He'll have to keep his legs on either sides, and that cannot be comfortable for him, which means that the Q5 is better off as a proper luxurious 4-seater. Trust me, 4 people are not going to complain at all. I mean, the legroom is really nice. The seat is in fact probably some 70 to 80% of the range now in the driver's seat, and there's no complaints. Just that the fifth person is going to feel the difficulty. You have this sun blind here, which is useful in our hot and humid conditions. And you also have the rear center armrest, of course. And one thing that's really nice here is just press the button and the two small chota cup holders that pop up. And the cup holders are not very big. I mean, you can probably store a small size cup or something, but nothing beyond that. Hey guys, so I'll just take a moment to explain the infotainment system of the Audi Q5. So basically, you have the media part here where you can connect various songs, Bluetooth, and things like that. More importantly, we have something called as the car menu here, where you can select different modes of the car. You have off-road, efficiency, comfort, auto dynamic. I'll talk about that during the course of the time. And then coming to the car details, it's like if there is any inclination, I'll just take it to the inclination here. See, uh, there is 3-degree inclination here. Driver assist is basically you can control the speed warnings from here. Okay, the speed limit, okay, interesting. You can check the speed limit and control that according to that. This is the TPMS, oil level, and lots of interesting things actually. And this is the parking aid. You have the lights and vision. There are 30 ambient lighting color options in the Q5. Also, another thing that I want to add is there's so many physical buttons here, and I really love physical buttons in cars. And see, it's so nice to operate it, set the blower level, you want it less, you want more, instead of fiddling with touchscreen all the time in most of the cars. And apart from that, you do have dedicated buttons for the drive mode selection as well. I mean, this is so nice. This is so nice, having physical buttons. And there is a button to turn off the ESP and parking assist.
The Q5 is a fun crossover to drive, or rather an SUV. If Maruti Suzuki can boast about cars like Ignis and Espresso as SUVs, I guess the Q5 deserves the super popular tag of an SUV rather than a crossover. A turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder direct gasoline injection engine puts out 249 bhp and 370 Nm of torque, and uses a 7-speed S-tronic automatic transmission with standard quattro all-wheel drive capable of producing 0 to 100 km sprint in just 6.3 seconds. The car can achieve a commendable top speed of 237 km per hour. Q5 uses speed-sensitive electromechanical power steering, which feels light and filtered when in any other setting other than the dynamic. The Q5 gets 4-wheel drive, the quattro, giving great traction in slippery conditions and good grip through corners. There's a lot less body roll. If you're looking for a vehicle that serves as a direct communicator between your petrol head sensors and the road beneath you, you are not going to get that here. We did slot it into comfort mode, and trust me, it's a whole world of different affair the Q5 has with the bad, or rather pathetic roads with craters and potholes. It absorbs them damn well in this mode. The Audi's body control is damn strong, and it's only the Q5's numb remote steering that stops it from being surprisingly entertaining car to drive, at least for an SUV of this size and height.
So first things first, the visibility of the bonnet from the driver's seat is really good. I can see the complete bonnet from here, the bike coming from there, and just because there's a physical button here, it was more convenient for me to go there directly. Imagine if there was a touchscreen here, I would have to fiddle through menus. So this is the auto mode of the Q5, and it's a full throttle, and the car actually drives better than the A6. Of course, in spite of having a replica of the powertrain and drivetrain, the car actually drives better than the A6. The mid-range of the car is really punchy, and I think mid-range is very crucial. And the low range is fine too. This being a quattro as in this being a all-wheel drive, low range is important because whenever you are tackling an off-road situation, you are going slow most of the time, 99.9% of the time, and that time it needs to get a lot of torque for you to get out of any situation. And I think that's when the quattro is going to help. And that side, we did have some instances where we saw the power of quattro kicking in. Okay, so this is an opportunity for us to check the horn of the car. Horn is a typical German wind horn. I really love the horn. The size of this car is very deceiving. You feel that this is a big car, I cannot drive the car in the city and things like that. We had such a small place there, and I didn't even have to take a 3-point U-turn. I just turn the car, and the car turned. There are a lot of twists and turns in this road, and it's going to give us a good opportunity to check out the steering feedback here. So the steering, it's not that the steering feels lifeless, it's artificial or things like that. There is weight in the steering, but it's kind of less, not close to, say, for example, we drove a car which had a really nice steering recently. Yes, that's the Fortuner. It's not as good as the Fortuner. I mean, this is an electric power steering. There's a hydraulic power steering. More about it later, the differences and things like that. But yes, hydraulic power steering or EPS any day and every day. If you want to tackle curves, and of course, people love EPS because EPS are lighter. They're easier to drive. I mean, that said, hydraulic power steering, that is the HPS, is way more fun to drive. And of course, audio is going to focus more on the consumers than the enthusiast, at least for the Q5. We're not talking about RS7. I would love to demonstrate for you. So right now we're doing on 65 70 kmph mark, and that's when the steering feels a bit better. So approximately you'd have to do some, say, 80 to 100 kmph mark, and that's when you realize, the steering is nice around those speeds. And beyond 100 kmph mark, if at all the road permits you to do so, if it's safe, do check it out. The steering weighs up nicely beyond that. But until that, the 40 50 60 kmph mark, you do feel that, you deserve a slightly better steering. But what happens when you slot the mode? Say we slot now to the dynamic mode, which is supposed to be oriented towards the enthusiast. It's so easy to maneuver this car. It's ridiculously easy to maneuver this car. We are done. It's as easy as any nice premium hatchback there. It's that easy to maneuver this car. It barely took us few single digit seconds to take a U-turn here. That's incredible. So yes, talking about the steering feedback in the dynamic mode, it's better than the other modes, the comfort and things like that. But yes, even in the dynamic mode, the steering does not live up to the expectations of an enthusiast. But that said, it is definitely going to cater to the 90% of the mass market audience. It's definitely not bad. You're not going to feel that the steering is light, it's lifeless, or things like that. I would like to reiterate that part, because it's more than enough for your 90% of the needs. And the next part is going to be the gearbox. So before moving to gearbox, I would like to take a moment to talk about the paddle shifters. You do get paddle shifters in this car. As we are talking about paddle shifters, I would like to tell you that the sensors are way more sensitive than they actually should be. And that's it. So yeah, we'll use the paddle shifters and move now. So this is M3. That is paddle shifters. Okay, I will slot it down. Okay, M1. Does it have a manual override? It should ideally have. Yes, the car does have manual override, which means that if I don't change the gear, the car is going to change the gears itself. It's like, तुमको gear change करना नहीं आता, मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, मैं change कर दूंगी gear तुम्हारा. Okay, and that's about the paddle shifters. The paddle shifters are nice to use. They could have been better. If you look at the size of the paddle shifters, they're quite small. Not able to see here, but you can check out the Instagram stories I posted there. The gear shifts are really nice. It shifts very nicely. There is barely any turbo lag. I mean, it's not existent at all. I mean, of course, you would probably need a perfectly calibrated turbocharger with a twin turbo in an engine to have, say, close to zero turbo lag, but that doesn't happen normally. Ford was supposed to get the twin turbo Endeavour, but Ford went away. They packed the bags and went away. So coming back to the Q5 and ditching the Endeavour aside, there is very negligible turbo lag, and you're going to love driving this car, no matter which mode it is in. Just found that the auto, and or rather even the comfort mode, has slightly better calibration of the auto case, and the shifts are better there. And sport mode, of course, the car tries to be sporty. The car tells you that it's more enthusiastic than it actually is. So that's one small thing there. The quality of stacks are really good in the car. The quality of everything is good, apart from one small thing. That's this knob here for the volume control. This is one thing that I'm not liking from the quality point in this car.
The Q5 scored 5 stars out of 5 for safety in its Euro NCAP safety appraisal. Mind you, the Euro NCAP norms are much stricter than the global NCAP norms in terms of safety tests. The QFI gets 6 airbags as standards as well as automatic emergency braking for the preventative safety aids, including blind spot monitoring and a system that warns you about approaching vehicles when you are backing out onto a road.
Coming back to where we started off with, the big question, does the Audi Q5 have the magic? Does it have the aura that can accelerate the growth of Audi in India right now? Because as discussed earlier, Audi, this is the ninth product in 2021, and that's a very big thing because there was pandemic, there were cash crunch in the market, and Audi went all guns blazing without thinking twice about the repercussions, if any. And the answer is yes. The car has magic. The car has the aura that can actually help Audi fight back in the competition. Because Audis were selling like hot cakes. I mean hot cakes back in 2013-14. And it was every Bollywood actor's dream car. I mean, we saw actors buying a Q7, then there's another Bollywood actor who buys the Q7 because there's another actor who bought the Q7, and the Bollywood was filled with Q7. That was Audi back in 2013, 14, and it's from 2015 when it started moving down. And I think 2021, 2022, 2023 is going to be a very, very important period for Audi in India because they are coming back very, very strong. In fact, in yesterday's presentation, the people at Audi, the leadership said that people are not going back from the showrooms just because Audi does not have a diesel engine. I mean, that was my thought initially before I came to the drive. I was like, why isn't Audi offering a diesel engine? Because SUVs and diesels go hand in hand. SUV has to have a diesel engine for it to sell well in India. But on the contrary, when we spoke to the leadership yesterday, they said that people are okay with Audi being a petrol-only brand. Of course, they're going to lose sales. Of course, they're going to lose sales. There is no second thought in it. But it's not a big setback for them, and that's a good thing because Audi is going to focus on petrol only cars for a long time, and post which is going to be electric only. There won't be any more diesel cars from Audi, and it might be slightly disappointing for enthusiasts like me who love diesel cars. But that said, as long as Audi is doing good, I think we shouldn't be worrying about it. So talking about the Q5000 package, it's a very, very well rounded of package. The car looks good, it drives well, has all the bells and whistles that you would want in 2021. But just like any other car out there in the world, it does have some shortcomings too. Firstly, the biggest problem that I have with the car is it's impossible for the fifth passenger to travel a long distance thanks to the tall transmission tunnel at the rear that is there. The floor hump is way too high, and apart from that, there's a small thing that we noticed. Actually, the car has sensors which are way too sensitive for smaller bumps, or say bigger humps, or say when the conditions are not the most optimum. For example, there's so many sensors that were sensing that things are not fine here. It's not a bad situation as such that demands your so much attention, but the sensitivity of those sensors around the car should have been slightly lesser. In a nutshell, I think it is a great move from package, and we really wish that Audi scales up because we really love brands that are innovative, that are aggressive, and more importantly, brands that price their cars really, really well. And the pricing is going to be very important for this car, and we will get to know about the price of the car when the car launches early next month or sometime very soon.
There's a reason the midsize crossover SUVs like Q5 has exploded in popularity over the past few years. It's this simple golden formula. Not too big, not too small, but just adequately right. The Audi Q5 is a great choice if you are after a big posh SUV and don't need 7 seats at all. It's smarter inside than a BMW X3 and definitely better to drive than a XC60. The Audi Q5 Quattro has a lot going for it. A fun driving experience, impressive technology, and overall quality that looks really, really rich. It's a compelling vehicle. No wonder it's the best seller in Audi's long portfolio of life.
So if you guys like the video, if this video made any sense to you, please follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon for notifications. Stay tuned, and thank you so much for support that you have been giving us all this while. Lots more of automotive content coming your way.